What in the world is legacy planning? It's actually a question we get a lot. And to most people, the term legacy itself is really something that is ambiguous. They maybe don't understand it. Oftentimes, people feel legacy planning is out of their reach because they haven't reached a certain asset level or whatever the case may be. But if you do not have a clear understanding of what legacy planning is, fear not, because it is different and unique to everybody. What we'd like to share as part of this video is the things that we believe are important to keep in mind when it comes to legacy planning, the framework that we walk our clients through, and ultimately what we're passionate about is helping what you care about come to fruition in your financial life and in your life as a leader, whether that's family leader, business leader, community leader. As we continue to define that for you or share our thoughts on it anyway, take you through a few slides here. And the first thing that I would like to share is that we believe legacy planning or true legacy comprises not only of financial assets, but we think that legacy consists of three peaks, all represented by a W. First one being well-being, second one being wisdom, and then third and finally wealth. We put the wealth peak at the very back end for a reason. I personally believe that if you have not established what your legacy means in terms of both well-being and wisdom, that you really truly don't even have the right to do the financial piece, because I think legacy is more importantly about how we act and how we live on a daily basis, how we transfer our values and our vision to our family and our business and community. So that's where we start. But anyway, you can see a few of the more specific things that fall within each of these peaks or categories of well-being, wisdom, and wealth. We won't go into a great amount of detail for the purpose of this video today. What I would like to share though is our peak legacy journey, and our journey consists of 4 phases, which we use the acronym PEAK to represent protection, efficiency, accelerated growth, and then establishing a kingdom legacy at the final stage. I'm going to go through each one of these phases, talk a little bit more about it, just to give you an idea of what we're referring to at each stage. So if you haven't noticed already, we're big fans of acronyms. When it comes to the protection stage, we talk about covering our bases. So what things do we want to protect early on as we start to think about our legacy? They might be our business if we own one. How do we protect our business? That's making sure our employees are happy, protecting the business from liabilities, protecting or insulating the business from fluctuations in market conditions, good year, bad year. We want to make sure that the business can thrive in any of those circumstances. Asset protection is a huge piece of legacy planning. We work really hard to accumulate all of the assets that we have available and then to give those away, whether it's to government in the form of taxes, whether that's just giving them back to the market in terms of being subject to volatility or having assets at stake where they could potentially be lost in a lawsuit, litigation, or taken by another creditor. Definition of asset protection is very broad because it's not necessarily protecting yourself from one particular circumstance, but just making sure your assets are protected in general. So moving on to S, we have survivors. We always want to protect our surviving family members, whether that's a spouse, whether that's our children, our grandchildren, or even our business partners and employees. We want to make sure that the lifestyle we've worked hard to build for them and contribute to will be maintained even in our absence. Estate protection, everything that we have and accumulate goes into our estate during our lifetime. At the end of our time on earth, obviously the estate is distributed. There are very inefficient ways to distribute an estate. Oftentimes that means the government gets back a larger portion than necessary, and there are efficient ways to distribute an estate, and that means it's happening by your design according to your plan. But the important thing is you have to have a plan in order for that to happen. And then S for good measure is sanity, because we truly feel that if you're protecting your business, your assets, your family, and your estate, it gives you some greater peace of mind and sanity. Next stage is efficiency. So what we want to do here, let's face it, there are so many things that can take away from your financial success, things that we can expect and anticipate that still have a negative impact, and things that are completely unanticipated. 4 of the main ones, as far as reducing our efficiency and our plan from a financial standpoint, are taxes. We are big advocates on having tax diversification within our strategy, making sure that we're not giving away more money than necessary. Obviously, we're always going to pay what is due, but there are ways to strategically make it so that the portion that we pay is less than if we didn't have a strategic plan. I is for inflation, the long-term impact of inflation. A lot of us have seen it here really magnified lately. If you think about things like gas prices, eggs. Recently, we've been at 8% over a short period of time, but historically even at 3%. If you think about what that does to your purchasing power, not only during your lifetime, but your kids' lifetimes. And then when we think about legacy planning, we're going generations out, that compounded inflation rate can be potentially devastating. So we want to make sure that we're mitigating against against that. We get double M's here for market volatility and medical expenses. In terms of volatility, one thing that can set us back in a huge way is having market corrections. We may have a portion of our savings in real estate or the financial markets, all of which we hope are going to increase and appreciate over time, but they do have periods of time where you actually lose value. So we like to protect against that, or at least have strategies that are going to offset some of those short-term market losses. Medical expenses can be truly devastating, not only in retirement, although especially in retirement, but even along the way. So if you know anybody who's dealt with a cancer journey, if you've had a parent or a relative that's had to have nursing care or home health care later on in life, you know that traditional healthcare expenses are not always covered by health insurance. That can be potentially devastating to a retirement portfolio, to a legacy. So we need to protect against that as well. And then E, extended lifespan. Most people don't think about this as a big financial threat. But what happens when you turn what you expected to be a 20 or 25-year retirement into a 40-year retirement? Well, obviously you need a lot more assets to go around. As we get older and live longer, the potential for things to go wrong increases simply because we have more years, more opportunities for there to be a major healthcare event, premature death, just the impact of inflation is magnified over a longer period of time, and all of those things. So we want to make sure that you have a lifetime income that's going to support you regardless of how long that retirement ends up being. And then finally, S in the efficiency phase refers to safety and guarantees. So we like to create a plan. We know things can always go wrong. So what's going to ensure that our plan makes it through both the good times and the bad times? Well, we'd like to make sure that we are prepared for those. And then guarantees, we like to have a certain level of performance that we know, worst case scenario, you're going to be covered. So we like to plan conservatively for retirement, for survivor income, for a lot of things based on the worst case scenario, and then anything that exceeds that, obviously, puts us in a better position. So that's a conservative approach and one we subscribe to. Next up, A is accelerated growth. So not just talking about necessarily asset growth here, but business growth, growth of your marketing efforts if you own a business, growth of your network and personal relationships, and then just opportunities in general. So the acronym we use here is DISC. D being diversification. Again, that is of assets, so it could be assets within your 401k or your investment plan. How are you diversified and allocated there? Which type of savings or investment vehicles are you using? Are you using a number of them? Or are they all your eggs in one basket, so to speak? We also want to think about diversification when it comes to an income stream standpoint. In retirement, you might have Social Security, you could have a pension, you might have income from your Roth IRA, your 401k. We like to create different opportunities for income, so that depending on what's going on with taxes, what's going on in the financial markets, that you have the ability to strategically draw from specific accounts. Tax diversification goes along with that. Believe firmly in creating accounts where your income is going to be tax-free in retirement and before retirement if you were to retire early or need it for an investment of some sort. But you always want to have options. That's the name of the game. And then even diversification of relationships. So who is in your personal and professional network? Are you working with just a financial advisor? Do you have a financial advisor, an insurance advisor, accounting strategist, a legal professional? All of those people, all of those relations come into play. And are they communicating? Most importantly, we believe you should approach things from a board of advisors approach, where you've got everybody working on the same team communicating with you. We like to play that role. So the I in accelerated growth, we're going to accelerate your income streams. So we're going to add more income streams. We want to raise your income floor. So you might start out at one base level of guaranteed income in retirement. And as we go, we're going to continue to top that off, increasing your worst case scenario. Spread is something that can really accelerate growth as well. There are many opportunities in the financial world where you can both simultaneously earn an interest rate and pay an interest rate. If you're able to create an opportunity where you're earning higher than what you're paying, that's what we consider interest rate arbitrage. We oftentimes will advocate that depending on the situation, but that can be a great source of long-term wealth. And C is the ability to capitalize on opportunities. We have something we actually refer to it as an opportunity catapult, which is a specific type of vehicle we like to use that really it's kind of a financial multi-tool of sorts. I won't go into great detail here, but it is something that we really like to build into the plans of our clients. But what type of opportunities are out there that you might want to take advantage of? You've got, real estate, maybe private equity deals. You may be interested in purchasing either distressed business or startups, even doing things like premium finance arrangements where you've got the bank funding, in this case, a life insurance premium, where rather than paying the full amount of premium and getting the growth on that, you're only paying the interest that's due to the bank, and the bank's actually paying the premium. Can be an effective way to build long-term wealth there as well. And then we get into our fourth and final stage, which we refer to as Kingdom Legacy. This is where we really have clients start thinking about generational wealth. So not just are my bases covered, are my kids going to be okay, but what is the ultimate long-term impact that I'm going to have on the bloodline of this family when looking out 5, 6, 7, 8 generations down the road. We use the acronym here, EPIC, and E is for endowments, whether that's creating a family endowment or an endowment towards a charity. Essentially, an endowment is just a formal structure that allows you to invest and provide support to an organization or a family over a long range of time and in a really structured formal way. It's not a requirement to be wealthy when it comes to endowments either. Most people think of like major universities and huge donors when they hear the term endowments, but you can, business owners and family leaders can create them with a relatively modest asset level. P is posterity, so this is actually the people in your bloodline, the future family members, primarily those who are not yet born. We know will be coming down the line when our kids or grandkids have children. What is going to be our impact that our life on earth had on what their future is going to look like? How are we going to give them a head start, give them access to opportunities? It's not about creating entitlement or trust fund babies, as people use that term, but just about creating opportunities and options and freedom. So posterity and impact kind of go together, but then impact beyond just the posterity piece is, how are you going to transfer things that are important about your life? So that could be your values, your vision for what the family should look like, your vision for what properly run business looks like, and the impact that you would like to have on the world or the community. All of those things fall into the impact category, and then cause is also related to that. But we find a lot of times our clients, when they get into retirement and they've done everything well, they've taken their risk off their board and they feel fully secure, we start realizing that there's a lot of things, I hate to say it, but wrong with the world. And there are diseases out there, whether it's cancer, whether you've got a family member that's had special needs, and realize that there's so many things are underfunded, under-researched, under-supported. We find a lot of people that find their passion over their lifetime, or even once they get into retirement, and really want to give back because they've had the opportunity through proper planning to actually have some ability to really support organizations and causes that they care about. So that's the fourth and final stage. We really just wanted to take you through the framework. Again, protection, efficiency, accelerated growth, and then creating a kingdom legacy. What we like to do is kind of have a conversation with you, see which phase you are currently in, which phase you're most concerned about or is most important to you. But most importantly, for the purpose of this video, if our process, our framework resonates with you, if you believe that what we discussed today are important, please subscribe to our channel below. We're going to have videos in each of the areas, each of the categories that are just meant to be educational and giving you tips and strategies on how you can more securely create the legacy that you've always envisioned, or help you further envision and develop what your idea of legacy looks like. So thanks again for joining us. Please do subscribe. If you have any questions, feel free to reach out, and take care.